Hello and welcome to My Newt News. My name is not Newt. I am not a Newt, but you can call me Newt. I wanted to talk to you about Resident Alien. Now, I've been watching this show since the first season came out. Well, actually I got into it a little bit after it initially debuted, but watched the first season, really enjoyed it, thought it was very unique. Like any other show, it's not perfect. It's got a few flaws, a few things that I didn't care for. But overall, it was very much not just a, hey, we need to be sure to watch that when it comes out, but also tell everybody else, dude, this is a really good show. You ought to try it. Pretty okay prosthetics. I mean, for a TV show, not bad. Okay, so the first season, overall on IMDb ratings of 8.3, 8, 7.9, 8.2, 8.4, 8.1, 8.2, 8.2, 8.4, 8.5. So, and usually it looks like that about 1,100, 1,200 people reviewed it. And who knows, it might have been the same 1,100 or 1,200, I don't know. You notice that there was quite a few more for the pilot, and it might just be that people are like, yeah, I already said the pilot was good, so nothing's perfect, like I say, and there's going to be some things that you dislike. I remember when I very first, and by the way, there may be spoilers. Okay, there's likely to be spoilers in this discussion, so if you are afraid of spoilers, you might want to wait. Of course, then again, if you watch this, you may not want to watch the second season at all. I don't know. But I would definitely recommend the first season. As I say, it's not perfect. It comes across as the sheriff's kind of odd, and the mayor is kind of a wuss. And I guess you could say some of the characters were just almost initially stereotypes, like the shy, beat-down woman, which is Liv, the deputy, the brash male trying to overcompensate for feelings of inadequacy, the sheriff, crazy chick, Darcy, the small-town slut, Judy. They may have started out that way, but for the most part, they all pretty well grew. So like on this episode, I just picked an episode, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 3 out of 10, not so great, 9 out of 10, 4 out of 10, more childish. The show is going to be childish more. They could do it better. I can tell that it is for the kids or adults yet. I can't tell whether it's for kids or adults yet. 1 out of 10. First 2 episodes were great. Third episode slips in an average character development piece. And that's something we're going to get to when we talk about the second season. And then, you get a bunch of 10 out of 10s. Overall, it seems pretty clear that on the first season that pretty much everybody enjoyed it. Not everybody, but a majority. Okay, fine. Now, when I heard that it was going to be renewed, I was very excited. I woohooed, literally. And when I saw that it was debuting the second season, I again woohooed, made sure to watch it. The first episode, Old Friends, I'll grant you it was a little, kind of disjointed. The first episode of the first season and the first few, it's new adventure. It's kind of weaving a narrative. The first episode of the second season, well, it just not so much. I mean, Harry's in the hospital, then he gets out, and again, spoilers. I have to say, though, one of the things that bothered me about the first season to a small extent was the 2 kids. The girl, Sahar, more than the boy, Max, but both of them, kind of annoying. But in the second season, they really, really ramp up Sahar's obnoxiousness. And the only person in Patience that can actually see Harry as the alien is Mac. If they wanted to be the girl to be the lead character as far as the kids go, they should have made her the one that saw Harry but they didn't. But yet, in season 2, anytime the 2 kids are dealing with the alien, he's just kind of along for the ride and coasting, and she's doing all the talking and intimidating and being just straight up obnoxious. But let's look at the how people rated it. And well, first of all, we noticed that especially in the first and second one, there's a big drop off. I think part of that's because something's new, people are more likely to review it. but 7.8, 7.5. Then the third episode, 4.8, and I agree. I did not care for this episode at all. A lot of the people with more traditional values and more traditional leanings who don't particularly care to be beaten over the head with a message definitely objected to this episode. And it looks like that the more recent episode, Radio Harry, was not exactly a barn burner either, but substantially better. Now, before I did this review, I went back and went through these 4 episodes again. And I have to say that, Harry wasn't in Girls' Night that much. I mean, he was in some, and, there was a couple of things that were just really funny, but most of it was focusing on the women in the cast and their relationships with each other and their bonding. It was written by Jenna Lamia. Lamia? Don't know how it's pronounced. So, who is that? Well, let's see how slow my internet is. Oh, well, she's the girl a woman who plays Judy in the show, the town tramp. And does a fine job, but I thought it was kind of odd that secondary or tertiary characters, the actress or actor, either one, is writing an episode for it. Just kind of surprised me. And it also surprised me that she was born in 1975. So that puts her well into her 40s, and I'm thinking, I knew she wasn't 18, but I'm kind of surprised, which is neither here nor there. And she does have a few writing credits, more power to her. But this episode kind of fell in with a lot of the previous episodes this season, in that it just seemed like that they were kind of unfocused, that they were kind of just, well, we don't have a coherent path for this season. First season was pretty much Harry awkwardly dealing with humans, adapting to his humanity, if such is the case, trying to find the bomb and trying to find the body so that he doesn't go to jail, so that people don't look at the body and look at him and say, hey, that looks like the same flipping guy. I can see that. I think that's part of the problem, is that they didn't, at least early on, didn't seem like that they had a real coherent view for the season, and it shows in the first 2 episodes. Third episode, a lot more, and like I say, a lot of people with more traditional viewpoints did not care for the way, and you can give a message. You can give a message and sugarcoat it so that it's not hard to swallow, that it's clear that a message is being provided, but it's well integrated into the show and into the plot. And this, I don't know, it just didn't feel that well integrated. Okay, so we've got 6 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 3 out of 10, 2 out of 10, 4 out of 10, doesn't rate it, 5 out of 10, 1 out of 10, 10 out of 10. And Alex Borstein was in there. That was interesting. I actually did like her in that, and apparently it sounds like that they may be bringing her back for more work later. And I don't know whether it'll be later this season or if it'll be next season, which, if they can turn it around and get it back to where it was in the first season, I definitely hope that they get a 3rd season. Now, whether they'll be able to do that, and I understand the difficulty, because when you have a new show, it's dealing with new people, you learn about them, you find out who they are, how they tick. You've got him trying to not get caught and fulfill his mission and go back home. So it's difficult. Or it's difficult for him, but it's engaging for the audience. And a lot of times in 2nd and 3rd seasons that, it just kind of falls into a routine, and they start just cranking the episodes out without a lot of thought about, how this is working, where we're going, what's going to happen, is there an arc or anything like that. Really funny, big step down, 1 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Oh, they didn't even watch the whole episode before they gave it a thumbs up. 1 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 1 out of 10. Oh, that's nice. He gave it a 2 at first and it got deleted. So then he went back in and put a 1. Well, that's not really fair to the show. That's more about this. So kind of meh. 5 out of 10, 5 out of 10. So definitely a lot. And then 8 out of 10. Why the hate? A lot of very, very either really good or really bad reviews, it seems like. And like I say, honestly, I thought it was kind of all over the place, and I understand, because there was a lot of, in episode 2 and episode 3, and that they're building up showing the Asta Darcy bond and friendship and everything, and I'm fine with that, because Asta is one of the main characters, and it's an ensemble show. But when you have it seeming like the whole episode is the two secondary or a primary and a secondary character bonding and being friends and getting drunk, I don't know. It just seemed weak to me. Your mileage may vary. I don't think, after going back and reviewing all 4 episodes, I thought that episode 3, initially after I watched it, was more out of tune with the rest of the shows. But after watching them, or reviewing them all, watching them all again, it's like, maybe not so much, because I did notice that the first and second for season 2 were also kind of unfocused. And seems like there's more cringe moments, like the thing with the Jessup mayor and the Patience mayor and his wife. I didn't necessarily care for that. And the thing about episode 3, when they're talking about, the women don't get paid, they get paid substantially less, and his wife is getting paid half what the new science teacher gets paid. And she's got some kind of degree, she said, and she could have been a lawyer. But the thing is that, first of all through the first season, the mayor was very much portrayed as very lefty, woke, and it's like, okay, now wait a minute. You've got this lefty, woke mayor, and you're telling me that he would stand by the women just randomly getting paid substantially less or substantially underpaid, including his wife and the deputy? I find that very hard to rationalize, unless, because honestly, most Hollywood is a little bit to the left of center, and unless they're saying that they think that left of center, lefty guys are full of crap and are fine with discriminating against women as far as salary goes, which I would hope that would not be the case. All this goes down, and then he's saying that, I'll talk to the city council, we'll get this fixed. Well, why wouldn't he have done that before? And also, she teaches, I can't remember if it's math or English. The thing is, in fact, a lot of schools have a lot of trouble getting a good science teacher, because I know, last century when I was going to school, we had a science teacher that was really good, and that was in the junior high. High school, not so much. And so it's really hard to get good science teachers, because having someone who has a combination of a very good grasp of science and who is also a good teacher, that's not that easy to find. Now, it's a lot easier to find a math teacher or an English teacher. So that could potentially explain why the discrepancy in salary. Now whether he should get twice as much as she does, they don't say how much any of them were making, but that does seem extreme. But then again, if you've got 20 people applying for the math or English teacher jobs, and you've got to hunt and substantially reward someone to get a good science teacher, well, that would explain it, and it wouldn't necessarily involve sexism. And the deputy, I'm kind of surprised at that. Again, I guess they kind of just decided for that episode that they'd throw the lefty mayor under the bus. And it's also odd because at the end of the first season, they kind of made him a lot more assertive and physical, protecting his family. So I don't know whether for the second season, some of them decided, well, that's toxic masculinity, which I don't think it was, because she was fighting off the intruders too, his wife. So that's kind of that whole yin and yang. A couple, men and women are not the same, but that doesn't mean that they can't be equal. They're complementary. And the whole women should be men, women are just like men, women are as good as men, no wait, they're better than men. Well, no, they're not necessarily better, but they're not worse. They're not inferior to men. Men and women are complementary to each other. But Anyway, that's enough going on about that. Basically, at the end of the 4th episode, spoilers again, he got a message, with a New York phone number. So he's going to follow up with that in the next episode. I'm really hoping that that will kind of spur the season on and kind of sharpen it up, because I loved the first season of this show, warts and all. But if the next episode or two don't pick up and get a little better written and a little more interest involved, and have a little bit more focus on Harry the alien and his travails and resolving those travails, I hate to say it, but I'm afraid I might just pop out. And I suspect that Sci-Fi, that their ratings are going to be affected. I watched some of the YouTube stuff and about, pop culture and, okay, some of the gripe channels. But I didn't hear any of them say anything about this. So I don't, they're more worried about Marvel and the MCU and Frost and all that crap. But they haven't really ever mentioned Resident Alien, which I kind of think is a shame. But so at least as far as I know, there wasn't a lot of publicity to drive. Sometimes when there's a lot of publicity about something, people say, oh, well, they're just review bombing it. I guess it's possible with the Girls' Night 3rd episode, but at least from my experience, I haven't seen anything saying, oh, this is horrible, other than me now. And I mean, I wouldn't say it was horrible. The whole 2nd season is somewhat disappointing and disjointed. I've already said that, so I think I'm going to say that I've said my piece. I would definitely highly recommend the 1st season. It's very good, it's funny, and if you want to watch it and don't necessarily want to follow up with the 2nd season, great, I understand. If you say I'm full of crap and the 2nd season is the most amazing and awesome thing that you've ever seen, that's fine, more power to you. You know what? If you can find some happiness in this world, more power to you, as long as you don't hurt anybody else in the process. I guess that's all I've got to say on this. And actually, that's not all I have to say, because after I finished this video, I realized that there were some things, or a specific thing that I wanted to address. So I'm making this, I'm going to edit it in. If the audio isn't quite matching and everything, or if I'm louder or quieter, I apologize. I'm not perfect at editing yet, but I am working on it. So, self-improvement and all that. It's in this scene from Resident Alien Season 2, Episode 3. I think subconsciously this is part of the reason why I really dislike this video, or this episode. And I'm going to play the video, and if it seems just slightly choppy, it's because I had to manipulate it, hopefully so that I won't get a copyright strike. And I shouldn't, because it is fair use, because I'm critiquing it and creating something new. But lawyers, you can't always argue with them and use logic when you're talking about legal. So if you'll just watch this video, and then I'll make some commentary on it.
Every time a woman tries to tell you something, sit down, shut up, and listen. And if you feel the need to say anything, all it needs to be is, yes, ma'am.
Sit down, spaceman. Sit! I know all about your silver balls. I know Max stole one, and that's why he's been acting like springtime lions in those nature videos, but I also know you knew he had a ball and did nothing to stop him. Guess what? You're not getting your ball back. And I'm guessing now that it's gone, Max will go back to normal. And if he doesn't, you are going to hear from me. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Next time a woman tries to tell you
Now, I
something,
know a lot of people will say, okay, that was played, mostly for humor. And in a way, it is kind of funny, but it's also kind of annoying, because first of all, the people that are saying that, bodily autonomy, my body, my choice, if I want to be this, then I can be this. It doesn't seem right that they're also saying is, if someone in this specific group comes up to you and says they have something to say, you have to stop, give them, no matter how crazy or not crazy, what they're saying is, you have to give them a listen, and then you have to express your acquiescence and your submissiveness. which I'm sorry, but that's BS. If this were a man saying it to her, next time a man wants to talk to you and he says he has something to say, you have to sit down, shut up, and listen, and when he's done, all you have to say is, yes, sir. No, that's not right. And I don't care whether it's in reference to male, female, or if it's reference to black and white, or Catholic, or Jewish, or atheist. It doesn't matter, People shouldn't be expected to give up their personal sovereignty and just say, yes, that's right. Because you're in X group, then I have to say that yes, ma'am, or yes, sir, or yes. No, that's not right. Individual human beings have personal autonomy, and they shouldn't be required just to be subservient to any specific group just because somebody's in a group, or for that matter, any specific individual. That's not right. It's BS. So, okay, that rant is semi-over. Now, another thing that was pointed out to me, thank you very much, was that when he's talking to the little girl and she's jumping on him about this quote-unquote silver ball, which I know, grow up, that the little boy stole, that Max stole, she's lecturing him on, well, you knew he stole it and you knew he had it, so you should have warned him. Well, she doesn't say anything about maybe he shouldn't have stolen it. If somebody steals your car, is it incumbent upon you to track the thief down and say, hey, that car you stole from me? I'm not going to try and get it back, but, you should be careful because that right front tire is kind of bald, so, if you hit a wet patch, you might lose control. Or, hey, that gun that you stole from the store the other day, you should be careful because it might be loaded and you don't want to accidentally hurt yourself. No, it's not incumbent on the victim of a crime to track down the criminal to tell them that, hey, the stuff you stole might be dangerous. If somebody breaks into a pharmacy and steals drugs, is it incumbent upon the pharmacist to try and track down the criminal, not to have them arrested, but to warn them, hey, you got to be careful about that OxyContin, that 500 pill bottle of OxyContin that you stole, because, that can be addictive and, it could lead to bad consequences. No. You have to take responsibility for your own actions. And if you steal stuff and you have bad consequences, that's on you for having stolen stuff. It's not on the victim to try and track you down and say, oh no, this could be the bad consequences. And if you're ignorant of those consequences and you think that, hey, I got this from the pharmacy, so it's okay if I take 30 OxyContin tablets. I mean, that's on you. But okay, now I really am finished. If you like what I did here today, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like what I did here today, sorry, maybe you'll like the next one. Thanks. Bye.